Live from the Dr. Jerry Henderson Radio Complex, it's time for Card Guys. And now, here's your host, Anthony Schulte.
Good morning. Thank you, Michael, for the intro, as always, and welcome to Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk, Season 3, Episode number 1. The Season 3 premiere here on 101.1 The Beat and YouTube. Folks, thank you for tuning in and joining us for our third season on the air. Coming up today, we discuss our picks from Week 1 of the NFL season. Plus, the Lions win an OT thriller in downtown Detroit, and we highlight the first 2 games of the CMU season. I'm Anthony Schulte, and joining me as always, my man, Mr. Ryan Donnelly.
We're back! It's been a long 5 months. Last show was the NFL draft, man. We got lots to catch you guys up on. I'm so excited for seasons 3 and 4 with you guys.
It's going to be a fun time, and right next to me, Mr. Michael Rosenkranz.
Guys, it's so hard to believe that 5 months have gone by without a show as
the flag fell.
As I'll detail you guys. The flag fell. Little first show jitters. Kind of call us the Lions.
Call us Jared Goff because we got first game jitters.
First game jitters. So while Anthony sets up the flag here, how you guys doing? It's been a long 5 months. Not really on the air, but we have lots to catch you up on. Guys, I've missed this, but I am so excited to get back into it. Let's get it, gentlemen.
This show stinks. Seriously, the flag.
This show's great, guys.
How many times, over under 2.5 times that flag falls during today's show? We're just trying to,
figure things out again. It's been 5 months.
The Detroit Lions. Last time we're not performing in the game.
Hey, last time we were on air, Terrion Arnold wasn't a Lion.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's how long it's been.
It's been a long time. So before we get started here, I do want to address our plans from the summer. As you all know, we were supposed to film our quote-unquote summer sessions and a few more pieces of content for you folks, but obviously that didn't happen. We kind of underestimated how busy we would be with work and other endeavors, and for that, we do apologize. However, starting us off today, we're going to speak of busy summers here. How was your guys' summer?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. My summer was busy. Let's just say that. Not a lot of people can say this, but I love my job. For those who don't know, I work 2 jobs. I work Illich Sports and Entertainment, which means I work at Pine Knob in Clarkston, Michigan Lottery Amphitheater at Freedom Hill in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Excuse me. Meadowbrook Amphitheater in Auburn Hills on the campus of Oakland University, the Fox downtown, legendary Legacy Theater, and then Little Caesars Arena downtown. And then I also work Safe Management, which is Keyworth Stadium, home of Detroit City FC and Hamtramck, Ford Field downtown Detroit, and then the Big House back in Ann Arbor. I will be at the Big House hopefully next week, and Ford Field next week for the Bucks game. But man, the best part about the job is the concerts. Man, I've seen a lot. Let me name some guys. Luke Bryan.
What?
I don't know. Tyler Childers.
What?
Zach Brown Band.
What?
Kenny Chesney.
What?
Boogie with the Hoodie.
What?
AJR.
What?
Orville Peck.
What?
Dave Matthews Band.
What?
Third Eyed Blind.
What?
Lindsey Sterling, I just saw her.
What?
I can't think of any more. Chris Brown.
What?
Creed.
What?
Dan and Shay.
What?
Like all these concerts plus many more. But shout out all you guys. Shout out all the employees. Shout out all the managers. See ya next Friday for Leonard Skinnerd. That'll be a very fun show. And Charlie XCX. I'll be there at the arena too. But that's my summer. Went to Cedar Point once. Didn't really travel that much, but it's all right. Parents are retired. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mom and Dad. They soft retirement.
Big congratulations. Yeah, my summer was pretty busy too. I didn't really do too much, just work 2 jobs, one at a Taco Bell by my house, and then my other job back home in Clarkston with my high school and community TV station, Independence Television. Some of you who may or may follow me on social media, probably not a lot. So I'm going to take a second so you can, first of all, follow me on Instagram really quickly.
What's the at?
mrosie100. Go ahead.
Do you not follow him, Ryan?
Drop a follow.
I do follow him.
Anyways, so
He whipped out his phone like he was going to go follow you.
I was going to put it up for the folks
little
to see.
shameless plug of the Instagram there. But yeah, just did a lot of work with mainly Independence Television over the summer. We usually have a very busy summer with ITV, with just, filming all sorts of different events. The 4th of July Parade, Independence Fest, and doing a bunch of other different summer activities. I went to San Jose, California with ITV to accept a national award from the Alliance for Community Media.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good. Nice job.
It was our very first award on a national level since our inception 10 years ago in 2013 is when we started. So we're very, very proud of that. And then in addition to traveling there, I also traveled to Minneapolis with one of my good buddies from high school to help him live stream, of all things, a Rubik's Cube competition.
Oh, look at that.
Rubik's Cube.
It was interesting to say the least, but I mean, his production company's been taken off ever since he got out of high school, and it's just so cool to see what he's been involved with, and it's been really, really awesome to be a part of it. But, with this whole blackout thing that happened with Bally and Xfinity.
Oh, yeah.
We thought there was going to be a summer filled with just chilling at home, watching Detroit sports, and obviously that did not happen. Thank you, 97 won the ticket. Dan Dickerson and Greg Gagne. You guys are lifesavers.
I have DirecTV, so I was able to watch
So do
it.
I.
There you go.
So I'm a very lucky boy. That,
Well,
my
it
parents...
Thanks,
stinks
Mom
to
and
be
Dad.
me then. I have Xfinity. I have Xfinity. These two have DirecTV. These guys are smarter than me, okay?
I give my parents all the credit for that. They're the ones that got DirecTV.
I also give
There
my
you
parents
go.
their credit. They're amazing.
There you go. There you go. But other than that, it's just been a really, really great summer. And then just to cap it off, 2 Fridays ago, I called Clarkston football against Belleville at Wayne State University. Unfortunately, fell short, but I was utterly surprised that we were able to keep it to one score against the number one team in the state, 35-28.
How did Bryce Underwood look?
Bryce Underwood, he's good.
Yeah.
He is good. He's just a natural playmaker, dude. It's just every time he ran the ball, he always made a play. He always made sure blockers were in front of him. He's got great speed. Thing that intrigued me, he doesn't really pass the ball much, especially in that game. Maybe it was just in that game because he can pass the ball. He just relied on the run game a lot, and it worked. I mean, when it's working, it's working. And the only time that he really did throw a pass, one of our captains, Brady Beck, intercepted it. But it was a good game, and Clarkston did get their revenge after their loss to Belleville. They beat the defending champion Southfield A&T 48-0 in 3 quarters. They called it at the fourth. They called it at the fourth quarter, so they just called it early.
Do you think Bryce Underwood's going to win Mr. Football this year?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he's just proving time and time and again why he's the number one prospect in the nation right now, and LSU's getting a serious contender.
The nation?
Yes, he's the number one quarterback in the state as well as the nation.
Oh my gosh.
He's committed from one Tigers team to the next. He's on Belleville, committed to LSU. He's going to be fun to watch, guys. He might have to be a name to look out for.
I'll have to take your word for it. I've never seen him play. I probably should. He's
watch tape on him. I
probably
promise
very
you,
good.
he's very good.
If Belleville goes to Ford Field this year, I will watch.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Are they Division One?
Yes, they're
Okay,
Division
that's-
1. They missed out on the three-peat of state championships last year when Southfield A&T upset them.
That was a great game, too.
That was a great game.
That was a great game.
That was a great game. So they'll be even hungrier this year.
So my summer consisted of working at Mountains Warehouse and working at Mountains Warehouse. Shout out Ryan Clark. My coworker, my boy from work. He's hopefully going to be an avid watcher of our program. Yeah, all I did was work, and very busy with making some cash. So
Hey, you got to make that cash somehow, right?
yeah, exactly. So that was our summer.
You forgot to mention that we went to Whitehall.
We did.
We went to Whitehall with our friend of the show, who will be on
Friend
Wednesday.
of the program, yes.
Isaac Haffenden.
Yes.
And we also went to Rockford, along with another friend of the show, Tony DeLuca IV, and
Yes.
his friends.
Big
So,
Tone.
Big Tone, as we like to call him.
In my phone.
Yep. He's Colt Keith in my phone because he looks like Colt Keith.
He's also an avid Daniel Jones supporter.
Yeah.
The only one on the planet. So there's that little piece
He was
of
getting
information.
booed out of
Tony,
MetLife
what
Stadium
are we
last
doing,
night.
dude?
Tony's the only one that was defending Daniel Jones yesterday on the entire planet.
He was getting booed out of MetLife Stadium last night, and Tony's like, I'll get him next week. I'm like, dude, did you see what he did last night?
Daniel Jones ain't it. Tony.
He's terrible. All right.
He's terrible.
He's not.
Anyway.
All right.
Anyways.
It is time for our 3 stars segment. I'll start off with my 3 stars. Number 3, Alex Anzalone. He made some very key plays. He kind of set the tone yesterday. Just a very good game from him. A friend of the show, Derek Steele, said while we were watching the game that he could be a Pro Bowler this year, and I 100% see it. If he plays like that every single game, he will be a Pro Bowler in my eyes. Number 2, J-Mo, Waymo, as they call him in the streets, Jamison Williams. What was it? 5 catches, 126 yards, 140 total, and a touchdown. The stats are going to be on the screen during our Lions segment. Great game from Jamison Williams. Breakout game. We all expected it. We were all saying Jamison Williams breakout year. I drafted him very high in fantasy. I'm very high on Jamison Williams this season, and he showed up. He showed out, and a great game from him. He's the deep threat. We have our deep threat. He's the deep threat. It is set in stone that he's our deep threat. Surprised that Amon-Ra didn't get many targets or catches. However, that'll be saved for our Lions segment. And my number 1 star, I mean, this is quite obvious, David Montgomery, D-Mont. As a friend of the show, Tyler Brazel, big D-Mont fan. Another friend of the show, my brother, Nick Schulte, also a big D-Mont fan. Bunch of shout-outs to start out this one. David Montgomery, game-winning touchdown in overtime. That's my number 1 star. Without him, we don't win that game yesterday. 100%. Gibby was not getting anything going on the ground. D-Mont was just plowing his way through that defense. So D-Mont's my number 1 star. Ryan?
All right. 3rd star. I know this is a football-themed show, but we do got to talk a little bit of baseball. My 3rd star is just the Tigers yesterday.
Trey Sweeney.
Oh, my gosh. That's all I got to say. 9-1 in the last trip to the Oakland Coliseum. Let's pull up the stats. 16 total hits the entire game. 0 errors, 0 mistakes. Home run by Trey Sweeney. RBIs by Parker Meadows, Matt Vierling, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Colt Keith, and then Trey Sweeney with the 2-run home run.
He was going to be my 3rd star.
Everyone did phenomenal yesterday. And now we are 5 games back from a wild card spot. We got Colorado this week. We'll talk Tigers soon, but man, they were really good yesterday.
With all due respect to the Tigers, it is football season.
Yep.
So football is the main theme.
Yesterday we were like, we always like during football games or during other sporting events the Tigers on, we normally like look at our phones and be like, oh, 1-0 Tigers.
Sweeney hit a home run. Colt Keith hit a home run.
So yesterday when we were like, oh, Trey Sweeney hit a home run, we were all like, oh.
Nobody cares.
Everyone's like, okay,
football.
It's football season. Like, we don't care. Speaking of football, my 2nd star is Baker Mayfield.
All right.
Who yesterday, holy cow, 24 for 30, 80% completion rate, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns with a 146.4 passer rating.
He's going to smoke us.
Yes. Baker Mayfield is legit. He deserved that extension. And then obviously, my number 1 star is Tavares David Montgomery.
Very nice. I see what you did there.
Tavares David Montgomery Williams. Oh my gosh. We'll talk about him later, but without him, we don't win.
It's not always, it's never a Card Guys show without a brief mention of Tavares Montgomery Williams.
We don't speak of that man on this program anymore.
Nor the Detroit Pistons.
It is now J.B. Pickerstaff's team, and I need to learn his full government name in case we have another disappointing season. And if we have another disappointing season, on top of a 14-win disappointment, it's football season, folks.
Football season.
It's an unbreakable cycle, Anthony.
Yes, it's an unbreakable cycle.
It's an unbreakable cycle. My 3 stars. We're going to start off with my 3rd star. It's going to be I might have to switch the order of these around. I'm going to go Parker Meadows as my third star. He's
Solid.
been on a tear with the Tigers lately. I mean, starting with that down to the final strike, 2 outs in the ninth, 101, right down the heart of the plate, he clutched up for a go-ahead grand slam.
Mm-hmm.
That is something I didn't even see coming. And ever since that, he's been on a tear. You can start to sense that Parker Meadows wants this playoff chase as much as any guy on the Tigers team wants it. So Parker Meadows gets my third star. My second star is probably going to be, is going to be Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he just continues to impress. You guys know, or some of you may not know, I love Shohei Ohtani. I've been wanting to get his jersey for the longest time. He just got his 46th home run yesterday. Dodgers shut out 4-0. And Shohei's just moving ever so close to a 50-50 season. He's 46-46 right now. I think the only player in Dodgers history ever to get those kind of numbers. So, Shohei, mad respect to you. Yoku dekimashita. And my first star is going to have to be probably David Montgomery. He came in clutch, and we'll talk about him a little more, but you want to talk about somebody who has both speed and power to their running game. Jahmyr Gibbs, he has speed, but I don't think he has a lot of power in terms of David Montgomery. David Montgomery is that veteran running back that we desperately needed, and to second your earlier point, Anthony, which we'll get into later, you don't win that game without David Montgomery.
Right.
He came in clutch when you needed to. But anyways, those are my 3 stars, but we got a little Lions to talk about, don't we?
We do. The Lions did play a football game last night. And,
It wasn't a great one, but
for the most part, it had everybody's heart rates to extreme historic numbers because OT thriller. And it got to OT by the grace of Jake Bates because we were up 13-3, right? Lions were up 13-3. We're like, we're running away with this. Touchdown Rams. Right? That's how it went. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown.
17-3, I want to say.
It was 17-3. Let me do math. No, it was 2 touchdowns in a row. Yeah, that's math, folks. That's math. It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
not our strong suit.
Nope. So 13-3, we give up 2 straight touchdowns. They're up 20-17. Jake Bates hits the tying field goal to basically close out the half. A good defensive stand to send it to overtime by the defense. In overtime, you just give the ball to Montgomery, and he's just right down the field, just plowing his way down the field, scores that touchdown. 26-20 is the final score, a game in which, in my opinion, the Lions did not deserve to win in the slightest. Now, I don't want to overreact here because it is week 1. Starters didn't play in the preseason. I think they should have. You're still working out some of the kinks, some of the jitters. I mean, that place is rocking. However, there's a couple things, specifically in the secondary and in the pass game, in which it's a little you gotta fix it. You gotta clean it up if you want a chance on Sunday. Buccaneers are a great team. They're a great team, not a team to take lightly. You played them in the playoffs in the divisional round last year. The defense needs to tighten up. Obviously, once again, the zone coverage is not working. Aaron Glenn was talking about during the offseason how, I finally have enough cornerbacks to play man coverage. Why are we playing zone for the majority of the time? At least from what I've noticed. It didn't work. Why is their 3rd, 4th, 5th wide receiver wide open across the middle? Why? I get Terrion Arnold, he's a rookie. It's his first game. He's going to have a couple penalties. I get that. But 2 penalties in the end zone that are easily avoidable. Those are at least one of them. The one against, I think it was Cooper Kupp in the end zone, was avoidable easily. That ball was, Cooper Kupp probably would have gotten, it's Cooper Kupp. But if you would have covered him a little bit cleaner, I still don't think he's getting that ball. Mm-hmm. You got to clean up the secondary, in my opinion. And then Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff. I have a T-shirt jersey of Jared Goff. What are we doing? Some questionable decisions, especially with that interception up the middle. You had Amon-Ra wide open twice from what we could see on the TV during the normal play, not even during the replay. Amon-Ra was wide open twice, didn't see the ball. Your two best receivers, I forgot the exact stat, but they were both it was both 50 receptions for both your all-pro receivers, or 50 yards for both your all-pro receivers, something around there. I get J-Mo had a huge game. Again, without J-Mo, we don't win that game either. But you have to, especially when Amon-Ra's wide open, you have to get him involved. If he's double-teamed, you take advantage of J-Mo. That's what you do there. They played Amon-Ra well. Amon-Ra was open a couple plays. Run a few plays to get Amon-Ra open. Literally just a fade route just to get him the ball and let him create. The 2 times they let him create on a fade route, he got some positive yards. And Laporta, I feel like he was force-fed a little bit, just a little bit force-fed, and that's what led to the interception. I think it was who was the throw to on the interception?
Amon-Ra. I think it was Amon-Ra.
I think it was a forced throw to Amon-Ra that was picked off by John Johnson, I think it was.
Maybe it's a different play I'm thinking of, where Laporta was triple-teamed. Yes, it was 3rd down. Laporta was triple-teamed. You throw it to Laporta, who's in double, triple coverage, and Amon-Ra's wide open. Mm-hmm. Now, again, Goff's under pressure. Maybe he doesn't see it. But in that case, I mean, he's wide open. Amon-Ra's wide open. You're Jerry. I mean, I'm kind of all over the place because that game was just got me so upset. Mm-hmm. Offensive line, too. Offensive line, for 4 quarters in that game, did not look too hot. Now, in overtime, they stepped up. They gave Monty his lanes to work. But that offensive line didn't look too great. A lot of things to clean up. Practice should not be a walk in the park this week. Allen Park should be a madhouse trying to clean up the secondary. Offensive line just needs to get a little bit more in tune. Again, you're adding in an all-pro in Kevin Zeitler. Obviously, they got to work on that. They just lost Jonah. They got to work on the in-game chemistry. I feel like for it being the first game, those are all excusable. You know, they're all excusable. Now that we've slept on it a little bit, we've kind of digested, okay, we still won the game. Those are all excusable. Only if you clean it up. If you hypothetically, now I'm not saying the Lions aren't going to clean it up. If you hypothetically don't clean it up, and this is how you play the entire season, good luck winning 8 or 9 games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. However, this is a professional team. We've been here. We know what we're doing. Dan Campbell and his coaching staff is one of the best coaching staffs in the league. They're going to clean it up. I'm not worried. I think these are all acceptable. Goff has to play better. Offensive line has to play better. Secondary has to play better. That's my take on this game.
You said it perfectly. Like, it's week 1. Mm-hmm. People shouldn't be overreacting last night. Our room, we can admit, a couple of us were overreacting a little bit.
I was one of them. But that's what comes with being a fan. You overreact to little things that you shouldn't.
Before I make my points, it's a little bit off topic, but you did mention that old people know what to expect with the Lions. Your grandpa knows. Both my grandpa.
Shout out Grandpa.
Shout out Papa. Shout out wee Papa. You both know. You've been with this Lions team for over 70 years, so I get it. What happened?
Chair's broken.
No.
What happened to the chair? All the armrests.
Oh, no. All right, whatever. But there's 50,000 more chairs in this room.
I will have to replace this chair.
Yes. Rest in peace, chair.
Rest in peace, chair.
Anyways, after that stat, but listen, if you all say, Amon-Ra had a really bad game, he was double, triple, quadruple covered. The Rams did their homework. They did. I'll give them credit. They did their homework. They detained Hutch, which made their offensive line all go to Hutch and have all the Lions D linemen go up, and then they slang the rock to Kyron Williams, who went to their left and got a first down every time in the first half, it felt like. But nobody looked good. And I agree to your statement. J-Mo looked good. Montgomery looked good. Anzalone looked really good. I will say, to your point, I agree that we should have played the starters in the preseason, a couple snaps. But at the same time, I get why Campbell is resting the starters in the preseason. He doesn't want what happened week 18 last year, or Amon-Ra had a scare, Laporta had a scare, all these other guys had a scare.
That comes with sports, though. I don't like when people are like, oh, well, they could still get injured. That's just sports. That's just sports. Look at the Chiefs. My perfect example is the Chiefs. They played the first half. I think the first 2 games of the preseason, they played the entire first half. And they come out of the gate and they looked, they didn't look like the normal Chiefs, I'll be honest. But they didn't look like it was the first game. They looked like they were in mid-season form, especially in that second half. So I think the Chiefs is a great example of you want to play your starters. It's a good example of how to play your starters. And it's not even like we're going, full effort in the preseason. They're just getting their legs under them in an actual game setting. You can't replicate a game setting. That's why preseason, I think, is so valuable, because it's a game setting, but it's not like you don't have to go 100% effort.
Right. And I made my points last night. Listen, lots to clean up. Mm-hmm. But it's week 1. I wasn't really stressed at all because I know this team can make adjustments. This secondary has got to learn cover 3. I mean, it felt like they were running a zone a zone or a blitz every single time. You got to throw in cover 2. You got to throw in cover 3. It's kind of ridiculous that every time your corners don't even know. Like Cooper Kupp motioned a lot and the corners were just shuffling. Like, come on. Like, corner, cover 1, cover 2, cover 3. It's ridiculous. Cover 3, you have all your D linemen going up, and then you have your corners in the back. You got a spy. Your safety is your spy. Like, teach that to your corners, Glenn. Like, that drove me nuts. A zone every time. But, listen, when it matters most, we got the job done. Hutch got detained the entire game, like I mentioned. He had like 3 third-string offensive. By the way, that Rams offensive line was banged up last night. They had their third-stringers out there, and Hutch couldn't get to them. But when it mattered most, Hutch broke through. Clutch sack on Matthew Stafford. Marcus Davenport last night, although, and I know I'm going to steal your point. I've been stealing all your points. We should get a D lineman to match Hutch. Marcus Davenport, for now, is fine. He looked okay. He looked pretty good yesterday, pairing against Hutch. Once we get Reeder, oh my gosh.
Wide receiver 3 and an edge rusher opposite of Hutch.
Yeah.
We thought it'd be James Houston. He's not that great. Good teams find ways to win.
Yep.
I think that's the main takeaway, is good teams find ways to win. We had no business winning. We should not have won, and we were not the best team on the field yesterday, and we still found a way to win. I think that should be the key takeaway for everybody from this is, yeah, we didn't play great. Goff didn't play great. Our offensive line didn't play great. Secondary made some really key mistakes. I mean, Gibbs was good. He was good.
He had a couple moments where he was slipping up, though.
He had a couple moments.
But other than that, he looked pretty good.
Everybody struggled yesterday, but we still found a way to win. And the Rams are a good team. They have a solid defense, and they have an incredible offense. And we still found a way to win. That's the most important takeaway, I think, from any game yesterday, is that the Lions had no business winning. We should have lost that game 20-10. We should not have even gone to overtime. We didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve anything last night, and we still found a way to win. That's the biggest key takeaway.
It's not about how. It's about how many.
Mm-hmm.
1-0. Michael.
Very good way to close it out. I mean, you guys hit it right on the head. Lions didn't deserve to win. Ryan, I pointed to you as soon as you said the defenders started shuffling, because I was going nuts when that happened. Like, somebody chased down Cooper Kupp when he motions. It's Cooper flippin' Kupp. He's going to get open.
What do you think he's doing when he's motioning? What do you think's going to happen when he's motioning? Most of the time,
right,
it's a play for Cooper Kupp. It's not hidden. It's obvious. They make it obvious, so we still can't figure it out.
And another thing, Matthew Stafford knows Ford Field in and out. Not only that, he is way too good of a quarterback, 16 years in the league, to pick up easily on his own defense, and the defense pretty much got exposed for it every time, and it was obvious. And yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot more I can say. Lions didn't deserve to win. We can all agree on that. And a win is a win. And the bottom line is that is an ugly game. One thing I do want to touch on, though, really quickly. this isn't a warning per se to Detroit fans out there, but I need to just pick your guys' brains about something.
Okay.
All right.
Detroit fans, not all Detroit fans, but there are some Detroit fans out there that are way too overconfident. There were lots of people yesterday when I was just seeing all the hype reels coming in for the Lions season opener yesterday. And don't get me wrong, we were all very excited about the Lions season opener. It's the Lions. It's one of our only teams we look forward to all season, other than possibly the Red Wings coming up and maybe even the Tigers trying to end their drought. And again, some Detroit fans out there are way too overconfident. And yesterday was a prime example of it nearly coming back to bite you. And as I was watching the game last night, I was like, this is going to come back to bite us. Lions fans were way too happy, way too overconfident going into the season, thinking that you were going to blow Matthew Stafford out of the water. Matthew Stafford was awesome last night.
He performed
34 of 49 for 317 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
He should have had 4 picks.
He should have.
3 of them by Brian Branch.
Yeah.
Exactly. None of our defenders can catch the ball, but we'll get to that another time.
Kirby can.
At least Kirby Joseph can in the end zone. But Matthew Stafford looked like he was Walter Payton or somebody, because he was tearing the Lions defense up last night. But the point is, Detroit fans, there's got to be a gauge for you when and when not to be overconfident. This is a tough league to win in. You never, ever take any team for granted in the NFL.
Especially nowadays.
Nowadays.
Every team has talent.
Every team has talent, exactly. This is a much tougher league this year than it was last year. This class of players, phenomenal across the board. This has become a much tougher league to win in, and yesterday was a prime example of it almost coming back to bite you. So Detroit fans, I don't want to seem like I'm jabbing at your throats right now, but you guys need to calm down with the overconfidence. Because I was talking with a good buddy of mine back home, and that was all him and I could talk about. Lions fans and their overconfidence going into the season, thinking, oh, we're Super Bowl champs. Lions did not look like a Super Bowl contending team, let alone even a playoff team last night. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, but you guys as Lions fans, you got to do better. You got to do better in terms of containing your confidence, letting the game speak for itself. Let the game do the talking, and then you can make decisions there.
I think there's a fine line you have to draw as a fan of, okay, we're good. Let's admit we're good. But also, it's the NFL. Anything can happen.
Right.
I'll be the first to admit, this entire summer, and especially these past couple days, I've been very nervous for this game.
No, me too.
Because it was not a guaranteed win.
No.
This was not a guaranteed. This
Nope.
is not a walk in the park win, obviously. And I knew going into this thing, I was like, it's not going to be an easy game. I was very nervous for this game for the longest time. And even before the game, I was excited, I was hyped, but I was also nervous. I was like, I just want it to still be the off season. I don't want to go into this thing, lose, and then all of a sudden the entire NFL world, social media, the media itself, now all of a sudden the Lions are back to the SOL, same old Lions. Did not want to hear that.
No.
But it's not, nothing's guaranteed. And you're right, the overconfidence by Lions fans needs to be tamed a little bit.
That kind of brings back to my point of like a lot of all the old people that's been here since 57, 67, last time we won an NFL championship before the Super Bowl era. Like, it's mostly younger folks, because like we weren't here during the Bobby Lane era. We weren't here for 0-16. We came with like, you know, Stafford, Megatron, Sue, like all these Slay, like all these guys, Johnson, all these guys. Like, this is the best team we've had. I became a Lions fan when Calvin Johnson was like in his 4th year, like 2012, I want to say, but it's mostly the younger folks. A lot, and I've noticed this. It's not like just you, or it's not myself. It's mostly the younger folks. Especially, it's not just the Lions. It's also Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers. Once something bad goes wrong, your mood switches, and that's all Detroit sports.
It's like PTSD.
It's like when the Rams scored their second touchdown last night. The whole room last night was like, "Oh, game's over. We lost." And then there's a couple people, myself included, that was like, "We still got this." In my mind, I'm like, "We're on cruise control. Like it's a little bump in the road, and we could still win this game." But listen, I agree to your point, Michael. But I think it's just mostly younger folks. Like there's that shot in the game last night, the camera shot. That it was all these young people, and then there's that one old person in his chair, just
sitting there like, I've been here before.
Like,
Yep.
He was so mad. And your grandpa last night went to bed.
Oh no,
halfway through the game.
He didn't go. I assumed he went to bed. He texted me after the Rams' second touchdown. He was like, "This is what I get for wearing a Lions shirt." Like he doesn't like he barely likes watching the games. He doesn't like wearing Lions stuff because he just thinks everything is cursed. Because I mean, think about it. He's been through every single era of Lions football. He's seen it all, right? All of the SOL that we've heard people experience, he's experienced. He's had enough of this team. He wants to see this team win a Super Bowl before everything's all said and done, and hopefully this is the year. I think this is the year.
This is the year to win.
This is our window right
I'm
here.
just saying,
especially now that you've extended Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell for the next 3 to 4 years. There's no reason not to within that time frame. I'm not saying that this has to be the year, although I think we do have a good chance. But within that time frame of extension, Lions fans are expecting you to win it all and bring the Lombardi Trophy to the Motor City.
Finally, bring it to the Motor
we
City.
need it. This is like the window. This is like the division's not getting easier.
No.
Once
the Bears are only getting better. The Packers are only getting better.
Once McCarthy gets healthy, he's going to be great. Once the Bears get an all-line, they're going to be great. Once the Packers get Jordan Love back, they're going to be great. Like, this is tough. This is like the year to win the Super Bowl, I think.
It is the window. Well, from one local football team to another, Central Michigan.
An even more local team.
Central Michigan. All right, so we started off the season. We'll start off with our Central Connecticut State win, 66-10. A good opening game. Everybody's like, "Oh, this team's gonna be great." Joe Labus had a great performance. This team's gonna be great. And then Saturday rolls around. Florida International, 52-16 final score, I do believe.
Yeah.
Just from the jump, it just didn't look pretty on Saturday. However, there were a lot of high highs for the first two games and a lot of low lows. It's very hard to gauge this team right now. And it doesn't get any easier because next week we travel to where's Illinois?
Champaign.
I thought it was Champaign,
Illinois.
but I didn't want to misspeak. Champaign to versus Illinois, who is not ranked. I thought that was a ranking next to their logo. Illinois looked very good this past week.
Yeah.
Illinois is going to be tough. If CMU could pull off the upset, that would be incredible. It's going to be tough. I really think also you have to get Marion Lukes involved a little bit more. Again, I know he didn't play against Central Connecticut State, but I think he was nursing an injury. The defense also needs to just tighten it up a little bit more. I feel like we're saying the same thing about CMU that we're saying about the Lions, but disappointing loss. I'll say that. Disappointing loss on Saturday. A very good win the first week. Very hard to gauge this team.
It's tough. We're still 6th in the MAC. 1-1. We're 500, which is still good, but it's hard to it's hard to decipher this team. Like you mentioned, we're going to Illinois next week. That's going to be tough. Ball State comes here in a couple weeks. That's back at Kelly Shores. We have 3 straight home games.
That's good.
Including a game against a game I've been looking forward to for a long time. San Diego State comes to Kelly Shorts. I'm so excited for that.
That's going to be fun.
You can't start games down 28-0.
No.
That's
not at all.
the first. And turnovers, got to clean up turnovers. You can't be so sloppy with the ball. Joe Labus, very up and down. Sometimes when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's off. And I think it's worth discussing. Once we get into MAC play, that's when we can get a good gauge on this team. Because, I mean, against Illinois, let's just be honest, any MAC team is going to struggle against a Power 5 team.
Unless you are Northern Illinois.
Except for this weekend, which it just seemed like every single MAC team was on their A game, which is great to see. Northern Illinois is now ranked 25th for knocking off Notre Dame.
That was absolutely wonderful, by the way.
It was.
I never thought I'd live to see the day.
Exactly.
When a MAC opponent takes down a powerhouse like Notre Dame.
I never imagined a MAC opponent being ranked.
I mean, I'm ranked number 6 in the country in college football.
Well, I'm ranked
dynasty.
I'm ranked number 4. Like my team is coming off a national championship.
I'm only in year 5 right now.
I'm in year 7. So, but like, it's this is a tough stretch. I mean, we got Northern Illinois to close out the year. It's like the Toledo game. Like, both were MAC opponents that were ranked, and we got squandered by them. And it's like there's no way to decipher this team. Like, Luke's and MAC play is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I will say that. Joe Labus against CCSU looked amazing. I will say that. He looked like the best quarterback in the country. Like, FIU, obviously,
it was hot, too.
Game temperature was like 108 degrees.
They're used to that. We're used to playing up here. And I mean, it was just They were just here when it was like 60s, low 70s.
Right
now
around
they're playing in 104-degree heat. The heat was obviously a factor. They're not used to it.
We're used to playing in the snow.
Right. I think the difference in talent level, in recruiting level, between a MAC school and FIU is not a Power 5 school. I'm talking about for Illinois. The difference level in recruiting and talent is just it's just given. MAC compared to Big Ten. If we can hang and be within 3 touchdowns, that's my goal right now. 3 touchdowns. Be within 3. Obviously, the goal is to win the game, but 3 touchdowns. If you can keep it within 3 touchdowns, I think that is a success, in my opinion. Given the circumstance, bounce back off this game. One bad game doesn't define a season. I think a lot of CMU fans overreacted to this game. Mm-hmm. I will say,
definitely,
when I made it to the college football playoff in year 1 of my dynasty, guess who we lost to? FIU.
Oh,
so there is still a chance at the college football playoff for Central Michigan University.
Maybe, hopefully, but listen, like it's not. We're not expected to beat these teams at all, for sure. But I mean, we gave our best effort. That's all I have to say. Illinois is going to be really tough, but then MAC play is going to be fun. I'm excited for MAC play.
Anything to add, Michael?
Not really much to add. Saturday was very, very unfortunate. Not a good performance at all. 6 turnovers by Joe Labus. He fumbled for 1 and was intercepted 5 times. Those 5 interceptions were the most by a CMU opponent. The last coming from Eastern Michigan all the way back in 1929. Ooh. So, been a very long time since it happened. Joe Labus only going 155 yards on 20 for 39 passing. Again, one bad game does not define you, but it's very up in the air with the CMU team. Mm-hmm. And this is a point in the year where Coach McElwain, I definitely think, has a chip on his shoulder. Coming off back-to-back losing seasons, the spotlight is more on him. He knows more eyes are on him when stuff like this happens. And he made a really good quote during week 1 after the 66-10 win over CCSU that can translate to anywhere. And just taking a look at it here. Just saying, quote, doesn't matter who you're playing. Doesn't matter the opponent. You go out and play the best you can play. I don't care who it is. You never take anybody lightly, and at the same time, you never fear anybody.
Fantastic quote.
The Chippewas were not the same on Saturday at FIU. We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
And going into Illinois next week, it's going to be a tough contest, but the big thing is, can they rebound? Can they put FIU out of their heads? Because they need to focus on the present moment, and if they don't focus on the present moment, it could very well be another downward spiral that no CMU fan wants to see.
All right. Coming up after this short break, we are going to discuss NFL Week 1. We're going to go through our picks that we made before today's episode. For this week, we're going to do our picks just like last year. So coming up after this, we have NFL Week 1 picks. You are listening and watching Card Guys Detroit Sports Talk. Sports cards, signed jerseys, signed helmets, and more. Miller's Sports Cards and Collectibles is your one-stop shop for all things the hobby. Make sure to check them out down Mission Street in Mount Pleasant, right past Meyer. Miller's Sports Cards and Collectibles. Welcome back into the studio, 101.1 The Beat here on YouTube. Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk. We are back after that quick message. NFL Week 1, gentlemen. Getting started here. We all made our picks. We all did somewhat decent, I assume. Michael, you went 11-12. Ryan, 10-3. Me, 10-4. Let's start off with the first game here. Chiefs and Ravens, Thursday night kickoff of the season, 27-20. The Kansas City Chiefs pull out the win. 65% of the folks in America picked Kansas City. We didn't pick this game. At least I don't think anybody, I didn't get the link out in time. So that is on me. We did not pick this game, but overall, a fun game. The Ravens lost their chance to tie the game on a toe.
Yeah.
By a
toenail. They lost their chance at tying the game. I'm not going to say they lost the game because they'd still have to win in overtime, kick the extra point, or maybe go for two. Who knows how they were feeling. Isaiah Likely had a great game.
He did.
Very great game. I'm hoping that I get him on waivers in fantasy football. I am second. Fingers crossed.
Who's number one?
Ty. So hopefully I get him there. But Isaiah Likely looked great. Does he look like tight end number one? Did he win the tight end number one spot? Because Mark Andrews looked like a left guard.
More than one.
So who knows? But Kansas City, I mean, they're the champions for a reason. They're the favorites to win the championship again for a reason. Again, good teams figure out a way to pull off games, and the Ravens aren't a easy task. So Chiefs pull off that one. And now we get into where we actually make our picks here. At least I made a pick for this game. I don't know if you folks
I did not.
I unfortunately did not for the Eagles and Packers.
Well, I, along with 74% of America, picked correct, with the Philadelphia Eagles knocking off the Cheeseheads from that little Bay Area in Wisconsin, 34-29. That game was very fun, I'd say. The field was garbage. You got an injured referee. You've got, sadly, Jordan Love with an MCL injury. He's going to be out a couple weeks. Thank goodness. I saw that knee pop, right? I saw the pop. Thank goodness it was not an ACL tear.
That was scary.
Because, I mean, a lot of folks were like, oh, I saw a pop and it was an MCL tear, or it was an MCL injury. So maybe more educated folks in the medical field knew it was an MCL from the start. But I think, considering the circumstances, only being out 3 to 6 weeks, I think was the diagnosis, 3 to 6. He's still going to be here for the season, especially when they close the season. That's very good for Green Bay. But Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley. Oh, I am happy I picked you in fantasy football.
I got destroyed by Saquon in fantasy.
Sheesh.
He tore us up.
Quick stat. For the years that he was on the Giants, he only had one 3-touchdown game, and he played like 70 games for the Giants. In Game 1 as an Eagle, he had a 3-touchdown game. Offensive line, Tony.
Most important position in football. That's why I rep Penei Sewell.
There you go.
Philadelphia pulls off the win there. Very, I don't want to say very convincing, but I think the Eagles are going to be legit this year. I think they're going to bounce back from last year. I'd say it's a disappointment last year. I think they're going to bounce back, and they're going to have a very good season. And then we have one of the most interesting games. I picked the Falcons along with 74% of America. 18-10. Steelers take down the Falcons at Mercedes-Benz. Who did you guys pick?
I picked the most boring team in football, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I went along with Anthony and 74% of America with the Falcons, but Kirk Cousins, buddy, what are we doing?
I expected a better debut.
Rough debut in Atlanta.
I expected better. I really did.
No, absolutely.
Kyle Pitts did score a touchdown, though.
He did.
So the world must be on a different axis here because Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm. So the Atlanta Falcons lose that game to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game, another very fun game. Dalton Kincaid seems to be missing. 34-28, Bills beat the Cardinals. Very, very, very surprising game from Arizona. They could do some damage this year. And think about it. 28 points, and they didn't involve Marvin Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very entertaining game over there in Buffalo. Dalton Kincaid, 1 catch for 11 yards, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I have him in fantasy football.
Ouch.
And he's probably their top target, in my opinion. Well, not anymore.
Expected to have a breakout year, they said. Well, it's game 1, so
It is game 1. Who knows what was going on over there on the sideline? But that was a very entertaining game. That was probably one of my favorite games that Red Zone was tuning into yesterday, right?
I think it was definitely one of the games that it was tuning into. Is Khalil Shakir still on the Bills?
Yes.
I thought he was.
Didn't he score a touchdown yesterday?
Yes,
I
he
thought
did.
he did. That is why. That's why my dad texted me. Him and I have a very funny nickname for Khalil Shakir. We don't know why.
Can you disclose this nickname? I'm assuming no.
I can. It's just so silly, and it's just for some reason we call him Shakir O'Neal. For some reason.
That's very funny.
For some reason we call him
Who'd y'all pick?
I picked the Bills.
Bills.
I also picked the Bills.
So we went 3 for 3 there on the Bills.
Now that that's out of the way.
Oh man!
Shout out my dad for texting me that hilarious nickname.
Mm-hmm.
It still goes down in infamy today.
Next game is Tennessee and the Bears. The Bears.
The Bears
The Bears.
looked like garbage last night, but somehow pulled out the win.
Their defense looks incredible.
Their
man.
defense and their special teams look really good. Offense, oh gosh.
Caleb Williams.
It's offensive line. I don't think it's Caleb Williams. I think it's offensive line. They are terrible.
Hot take, biggest overreaction of week 1, Bears offense.
Yep.
Yeah.
I 100%
Biggest
agree.
overreaction is Bears offense.
And the Bears did pull off the comeback. Weren't they down 17-3 and they won 24? So they scored 3 straight touchdowns. I think was it all defensive?
It was
and
all
special
defense.
teams?
All
special teams.
defense and special teams.
Not a single touchdown by the offense.
Yep.
0. Caleb Williams put up. I have him on my fantasy bench. He put up like
He
7
should
points.
stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might drop him. He's pretty. Huh?
I was gonna say, did we all pick the Bears?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He looked really bad. I'm sorry.
He did not look too great.
So did
but
Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen looked really terrible too.
It is week 1, so this is basically overreaction Monday because it is week 1.
I'm only saying this because I hate the Bears.
Our next game here is probably game of the week.
100%.
Texans and Colts back and forth action. Joe Mixon, also on my fantasy team. I had the 2 best rushers.
Anthony Richardson,
That
60-yard
throw,
bomb. Woo!
60-yard bomb by Anthony Richardson.
I have him in fantasy.
Holy smokes,
I'm
that
so
was
happy.
incredible.
That was
I
a
have him
very
as
good
my
game.
starting quarterback. I was debating him or Tua turned the ball over. But I am so glad that I stuck with Anthony Richardson.
Oh yes, 26 he put up in fantasy.
He did. Did anybody pick the Colts here?
No.
No.
We all picked the Texans.
Yes.
Texans are going to be legit.
Texans are absolutely going to be legit. Everybody saw what C.J. Stroud did in his rookie year. He's not going to stop.
I cannot wait for Texans Lions. That is going to be game of the year.
That's going to be really fun.
That
Oh
is
my
gonna be
gosh! I'm
Honestly,
so excited.
hot take, Lions are losing that game.
They are.
I
C.J.
definitely
Stroud,
think they're going to lose that game.
I think that
No
might be
doubt.
the only game of the year where I pick against the Lions.
Cowboys. That's your team. We're going to get to them.
I'm
pretty shortly.
picking the Lions that game though. Lions are number
I
one.
don't know if that's smart. Our next game, Dolphins and Jaguars, a walk-off field goal after Tyreek Hill gets detained, and then he scores a touchdown, and suddenly Jalen Waddle has him detained again in the end zone.
Exactly.
That's a great celebration. Given
That celebration
the
was
circumstances
so
earlier.
cold. That was amazing.
It was great. The Dolphins, it looked kind of scary for a little bit for Miami. I was wondering what was going on. Trevor Lawrence looked great.
He did.
And I only attest that to he's not on my fantasy team now, because the last 2 seasons he was on my fantasy team. And now that he's not, of course, he plays pretty decent. So Dolphins pull out a very I'll say a surprising one. I thought the Jaguars were going to win that game. I was very disappointed with how the Dolphins started out that game, but hey, they pulled it through. Tyreek had a very clutch touchdown. Devon A-Chain looks just as good as he was last year. Tua, kind of questionable. But, I mean, what do we say about the Lions? Good teams find a way to win, even when they don't deserve to. I think the Dolphins are a great example of that again.
Dolphins. I mean, the Jags are still a really good team. They had a
they're
slump. They had a slump last year. I think after that performance last night, I think the Jags have a case of the wild card.
They're definitely pretty good.
Definitely not the division. The Texans has that in wraps, but the Jaguars look really good, and I love it because the Jags are one of my favorite teams. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the Jags.
So our next game here basically gave everybody a loss. No, if you went undefeated in Pigskin Pick'em this week, I want to know what crystal orb you have to look into the future, because the next game we have is Patriots-Bengals. Probably the biggest disappointment of the NFL Week 1 is the Bengals.
And you have Joe Burrow in fantasy.
Oh, yeah, and I had the Bengals defense.
Oh,
no.
At least it wasn't the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs got -2. The Bengals got 4. We still pulled out 4 points. The Bengals did.
there you go.
16-10, the Patriots shock the world and beat the Bengals. I mean, granted, there was no T. Higgins for Cincinnati. Jamar Chase was limited due to illness. He got a stomach bug over the weekend. And Joe Burrow, I mean, he almost had a touchdown, and then it was fumbled at the 1. And that ends up being the deciding factor, was that fumble at the 1 after they called off the original touchdown because he didn't have control of the ball going towards the ground. I forgot who was on the receiving end of that touchdown.
Hudson, I think his name was?
Yeah, I think so.
Hudson.
Something like that. And then I forgot his name, number 87. He fumbled on the 1-yard line, and I had some choice words.
I think that was Hudson. I think both were Hudson.
Were they both? I don't know if it
They
was
were both. Wait, no, they were both tight ends.
Yeah, I think
One was Hudson because he had the ball, and then at the 1-yard line he fumbled it.
Oh,
and then, no, it was Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki, there you go.
Yeah. Almost pulled off an incredible catch, but the Bengals take a loss right there. Just
Terrible week for tight ends.
Yeah. It's not tight end you this week in the NFL. The next game, I don't even think we need to talk about it.
Nope.
Saints absolutely demolished the Panthers, 47-10.
Moving on.
The Panthers are going to be the worst team in the NFL.
Bryce Young, first throw pick. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL. Moving on.
Yeah. Who did we pick for the I don't even think we've gone over who we've picked for the last games.
Oh.
Dolphins, Jaguars. We all picked Dolphins, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And then Bengals, Patriots. We all picked Bengals, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And then Saints, Panthers. We all picked
Yes.
Saints, right?
That was a gimme.
Okay.
That one was a gimme.
And then this game, I thought there would be. I smelled a little bit of an upset. I thought Malik Neighbors would go off. I thought Danny Dimes would be Danny Dimes instead. He's Danny Disappointment. 28-6, the Vikings. Sam Darnold. What a shock. What a shock over there in Minnesota. Sam Darnold, I really hope he's not that great because I don't want the Vikings to do well this season, personally. I picked the Giants. I thought they would pull off the upset. Obviously, things are not clicking in New York. I'm assuming you guys picked the Vikings.
I picked the Giants as well.
Oh.
I picked the Vikings.
Those before we move on, those Giants uniforms.
Those are disgusting.
Gross.
And not in a good way.
Yeah.
Gross.
Who
Terrible.
was cooking those up? Because they need to be fired.
Ew, gross.
Those
Terrible.
Giants
Blech.
uniforms are just not pleasing to the eye. And it's so funny when the Giants state, we have our quarterback. You're paying Daniel Jones nearly north of, $40 million a year? And he goes out and falls flat on his face, gets booed out of MetLife Stadium. Daniel Jones is not it. I don't know how many times we've had to say it, but Daniel Jones has never been it in New York.
He should have drafted McCarthy. You should have.
Yeah.
100%.
That was huge,
stupid.
I mean, Malik Neighbors, though, he's going to be a special talent.
He will be.
I think you just need to get a different quarterback. Maybe
No
not.
doubt.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with drafting McCarthy because Malik Neighbors is going to be very good. You need a different quarterback, though. I think Danny Dimes' time is up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
Our next game here, Broncos-Seahawks. I think we all picked the Seahawks, correct?
Correct.
As much as I hate him, I did pick the Seahawks.
And Bo Nix did not look too great for the Broncos. But
he did not.
They still kept it close with the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be that great this year, in my personal opinion.
I hope so. I hate the Seahawks. They're my least favorite team in the NFL.
And we got to play them again.
Shout out Kieran Kamish. You're the only Seahawks fan that I can tolerate.
So that was an easy pick right there for the Seahawks. Chargers-Raiders was a little close for a little bit. Tensions kind of flared towards the end of the game, but the Chargers pick up a win. Jim Harbaugh's first win in his Chargers era. I think the Chargers are going to be a 6-7 win team. They did not look too great yesterday. Herbert didn't look too hot. Chargers, though, they pulled off the win.
Mm-hmm. I picked the Raiders.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Right. First one of the year.
Yeah, first one.
The Raiders.
Forgot to do it, too.
The Raiders.
This show stinks.
Listen, I thought Antonio Pierce in his coaching debut, and along with Gardner Minshew and how he looked last year, I feel like they were going to kill the Chargers, but they didn't. Jim Harbaugh, once again, proving me wrong. Jim Harbaugh.
He's having a Frank the Tank moment.
Jim Harbaugh. Sorry.
He's having a Frank the Tank.
Sorry. Jim Harbaugh, he leaves me. And now I have to stick with Sharon Moore. Although he's a great coach. Texas did. I'm not going on a Michigan tangent. We got to keep this moving.
All right, we all picked the Chargers, correct?
Not me.
Other than you, yes.
Correct.
Buccaneers and Washington Commanders. I picked the Buccaneers personally, and the Buccaneers took care of business. They look great.
They do. I picked the Bucs as well. Again, Baker Mayfield is scary. He 1,000% earned that extension over the offseason, and with him coming into Ford Field next week, it's going to be almost, I think, a repeat of the Rams game from last night. They're going to do their homework.
They have weapons.
They have weapons. They're not going to take you for granted. And I don't want to see any of these young Lions fans overconfident again that we can beat the Buccaneers again. If I see that again, you're just
going to be tough.
If I see that again, you're just going to hear from me again next week.
Right.
Because it's like, when are we going to learn?
Right. So I'm assuming we all took the Bucs, correct?
Raise the Jolly Roger. I got the Bucs.
Raise the Jolly Roger. And then America's Game of the Week, Tom Brady's national debut. I thought the Browns were going to pull off the upset. I thought Deshaun Watson would be, somewhat decent. But no, I'm not saying it.
How about them Cowboys? Woo!
You Cowboys fan.
We looked phenomenal yesterday. I did not watch a single minute of that game because I'm a fake Cowboys fan. But man,
you did.
I did. I watched a lot.
You watched a little bit of it.
Tom Brady. I'm gonna be honest. Tom Brady's okay at color. I mean, it's his first game.
He was pretty good.
But when it comes to the X's and O's, he was phenomenal. But breaking down all these players, I was like,
I feel like
it felt a little basic.
It's just he has to find himself in the booth. In my opinion,
when he's talking quarterback play, obviously that's his strong suit. That's what he did for 20 years in the NFL. He knows what he's talking about. But I mean, obviously he's got lots to work on. It's his first game, week 1. I'll cut him some slack. He's my favorite quarterback of all time.
So I'm assuming you guys both picked the Cowboys.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dakota gets paid and he goes out and wins the game. The Browns looked very bad. That offense looked absolutely atrocious. The defense didn't look too hot. There's trouble in Cleveland. There's some trouble in Cleveland, and not even LeBron could probably save this team. And then, of course, we had Lions-Rams. We all picked Lions.
Yep.
Yes.
Along with 90% of America. And then tonight, Monday Night Football, the debut of Monday Night Football this season, 49ers and Jets. We all have the 49ers, I'm assuming.
I picked the Jets.
What?
That's my Ryan Donnelly upset of the week.
Yeah, we didn't even have New York. I guess my upset of the week was the Browns.
Jets,
There you go.
Jets. Jets,
All right.
Jets.
Okay.
I don't think
Ryan
the Jets
is
are going to do
going-
anything tonight.
I don't
Aaron
think
Rodgers,
so.
come on. He's going to sling the rock tonight. He's likable now. I like Aaron Rodgers.
He's
likable
likable.
It's his Jets debut, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, his debut lasted like 1 minute last year.
Yep.
So
Yes.
this
it
is
did.
this is technically his Jets debut. But
ELGLES Eagles.
we
Sorry,
got
I had to throw that in.
49ers.
49ers.
We got the 49ers. All right, so that concludes NFL Week 1 tonight with Monday Night Football, and that also concludes our season premiere of Card Guys here on 101.1 The Beat and YouTube. Thank you for tuning in today to our season premiere. Didn't fall. It didn't fall again. It is still standing. I'm happy with that. Make sure you stay tuned for Wednesday's program, where we preview Week 2 of the NFL season. We highlight a very busy Pistons offseason, and we discuss them Tigers and their quest for a wild card. Make sure to join us on Wednesday, 8 a.m. on 101.1 The Beat, and a new time on YouTube, 11 a.m. on YouTube, because I severely overestimated how long it would take to get these shows out. So we're now 11 a.m. on YouTube. Just add another 1 in there and change it to a.m. But for my good buddies, Ryan Donnelly and Michael Rosenkranz, I'm Anthony Schulte saying so long, everybody.
Love you, Mom and Dad. See you soon.